embark on this season-long road trip?
You guys are feeling pretty good. Thought we had a spirited practice today. We had a pretty good practice today. So I think the guys are in a pretty good spot.
Just I know we talk about it throughout the season. If there's moments where you have a slide, but that one win, does it kind of go sometimes mean a little bit more to kind of get things back on track?
It does. Just because you lost, it's the tough part about it. I told our guys, man, we played a pretty good stretch of basketball. If you take away the first quarter of the Detroit Pistons game, we played a pretty good stretch. Now we haven't always been great defensively, but for the most part, offensively, we've been pretty good. Probably our best stretch defensively, if you want to talk on the defense end of the floor, from the second quarter on, even until last night. You're going to have games like Indiana. When you have games like Indiana, you just hope that you keep fighting to give yourself a chance, which our guys did. The biggest thing, a couple of games, we didn't close a game on the road versus very good teams, and that's something that we got to continue to work on. If we were doing that, which it could easily be done, we did it last year, we'd be feeling a little different, quote unquote, because of our record, because our record would be a lot better. So I think I feel like we're playing pretty good basketball. Hopefully it'll start showing more with our record. As long as we lock in and do what we need to do, starting with me in closing or finishing the games.
What are some of the in-game specifics that you're hoping that are going well right now and you're hoping carry over into this road trip?
Well, the biggest thing is just making sure we're all on the same page. Again, starting with me, that I'm expressing to our guys what we're looking for, and at times controlling the tempo a little bit more, because we want to play fast. We can play fast, but at the end of the day, there may be times where I may have to intervene a little bit more to help put guys in the right spots. And then, the players have to make sure that they have a feel of what needs to happen. Again, it has to come from us as a staff or me, and they have to have a feel of it and execute it. And they got to take care of the ball. They got to make sure everything is conducted right, even the process of trying to get some easy shots, which is get to the free throw line. Like Harrison. In our last game, it was late, and we called a play for him that we ran for him a couple of times down the stretch. And he comes off, he gets a screen. He comes off a screen. He sees the defender. Everybody, wants to be physical, so they're going to bump you. And if you avoid the contact, ref's not going to call it. But Harrison flew off the screen, ran right through the contact. They called a defensive foul. He goes to the free throw line and shoots 2 free throws. That's just a mature, smart, great feel play that he made to get 2 easy free throws at that point.
Mike, to see De'Aaron get named to the player pool for the Olympic team, what are your thoughts on that, and what an honor that is for him?
It's a big honor. It's just a testament to who he is. Also, the direction that he's heading. But anytime you get a chance to represent your country at the highest level, when you're talking about the Olympics, that's a special feat. Again, on top of being, how old was there? 19, 20, he's real young, 22, 23. He's been in the league 20 years, but he's like 25 or 23.
26.
Oh, 26, okay. It's great, especially for a young guy that's about to enter his prime.
Looking at this road stretch, you got 7 games, I think 13 or 14 days, and then bigger picture, it's like 15 out of 19 on the road. How tough is that, and how crucial is this stretch?
I know we're going on a road for a long time. I didn't know that. I'm listening to this for the first time. I didn't know we had 19 and
15 out of 19.
Oh, 15. That's a lot of games. But that's what everybody lives for. Everybody loves the excitement. I like practice. Malik. Coach Brown likes practice, but everybody else, starting with Malik, likes games, and that's what the guys live for, to play in front of the fans, to compete at the highest level and see what happens at the end of the day. So everybody goes through it at some point, and so it's no different for us to have to go through it right now. So we got to lock in and try to take it one game at a time, and we as a staff have to make sure sure we're doing our part by making sure we don't overdo, whether it's film, practice, shoot around, whatever it is, to find ways to stay sharp, but also giving them the rest.
To be clear, 5 of those games you've already played. So I was including the recent 5-game trip. It's not 15 of the next 19.
Okay,
But
you
you
can
know,
see I don't really know.
are you guys so acclimated to being on the road that, like, you know, hotels and buses and airplanes, like, is not even an issue, or does it kind of, I don't know, weigh on you like some, or when you're gone that long?
Yeah, I mean, it does to a certain degree because you want to be with your family. Now, I'm not complaining at all because the travel in the NBA is better than first class travel if you go worldwide. So please don't misinterpret this. But when you do have to travel, you're away from your family. You know, you're in one hotel, then you're going to the next, and you know, when you get my age, sometimes, you know, you got to call security. RC, I got to call my security. And I'm like, what room am I in again? You know, if I go downstairs or go for a walk or whatever. So, you know, it takes you out of your normal routine, and it's more a hassle than anything else. With the you couldn't ask for a better way to travel than the way we do it. So,
Coach, Domas has been on a tear recently, you know, with the double-double streak, obviously, the amount of triple-doubles that he's had over the last 10 games. When you have a guy that consistent, that you know you can depend on day in and day out, and just know what his production brings to the court and making all those around you better, as a coach, how does that, you know, make you feel, and how does that, you know, help the product?
It's a calming feel that everybody has from it, you know, because you know, oh, this is what we're going to get. So we're going to be okay, or at least have a chance in this area. So we don't need to focus that much on this area, and it allows us as a staff to focus or lock in on other areas of the game, whether it's offensively or defensively, to make note of, so that we can cover up maybe some holes or deficiencies that we have other places, because you always know what you're going to get from him, which is a very, very comforting feeling.
Going back to the road trip, just is there anything that you like to do maybe differently than other teams, you know, that other teams do, maybe for like chemistry, like off the court type stuff with the guys?
Yeah, you know, we try to get together to break bread or have meals together. You know, we may mix in, every once in a while, we may mix in a sightseeing deal, but everybody does it, you know, from time to time. You don't want to do it too much, because the reality of it is we're around each other a lot, and, you know, sometimes we need a break from each other. You know, it's just like you from your sister or brother or your parents, it's all the same. And so to try to do team functions together when we're together as much as we are, it'll happen every once in a while, but not a ton.
Past couple of days, we kind of going back to the earlier thing you were talking about, where he said, you know, kind of starting with you. I'm wondering, you know, obviously hindsight over 2020, and you kind of might look back at even your own decision making and kind of double, you know, second guess.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how much of that you've seen of late, to where you're like, man, maybe you're harder on yourself during a stretch like this.
I think any time that you feel that, especially, I mean, obviously, in my opinion, you should always look in the mirror.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're doing good, if you're doing bad, if you're okay, you should always look in the mirror. But when you go through a stretch where you feel that the team is playing pretty good and they're doing what they can to give us an opportunity to win down the stretch, that's when you really lock in and try to make sure you have answers, for yourself first, okay, to make sure, because what we're doing may be what the answer is, but just do it better. But maybe it's not. Maybe we might need to tweak it here or completely change it there. And so when you have a stretch of tough losses, especially where you think you had a great opportunity to win, you want to make sure that you give your team answers, and you tell them the truth. Hey, we're playing good basketball, but this is where we can get better, including me. And I'm not one to try to put it all on them, because we're all in this together, and I have a big part in this process. And so for me and the staff, it's been, you know, some of those games, you know, it's catch-22, because I don't like to lose. But some of the ones that are really, really hard or tough to handle, those are when you get better. If you take the approach the right way to dissecting the film, not just when you're watching it, when you're showing it to the players, and then with what you do on the court and your messaging. And so tough losses, but I know they've helped me grow, and I feel like they've helped the team grow, and hopefully a payoff going forward.
Seen a couple different guys play that backup 1 and backup 5. Is that a role that you feel like can be situational night to night, or do you hope to get to a point where you're kind of rolling out the same guys consistently?
I think most of your situations can be situational, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Obviously you'd like to have some level of consistency when it comes to your rotation, but when you have guys that you feel confident in, you're able to pick and choose. Okay, hey, maybe this guy might be better. Maybe this guy might be better, especially during this time of the year. The one thing that I've experienced, I know when I was a younger coach, I was like, hey, these are my top 8 or top 9. I'm rolling with these guys. I've been with coaches starting with Steve Kerr, even Greg Popovich. They may throw the guy that's the 14th guy in the game on a whim. And I remember asking Steve about that, and he said he said Phil used to do that every once in a while. And I said, it's interesting. I like it. And he said it's mainly because Steve was that guy before, and I know he was that guy in San Antonio. And what it does, it keeps everybody engaged. It really keeps you on your toes, and you're like, I got to work on my game because I can get thrown in at any time, not just at quote unquote garbage time, but at any time. And if you get thrown in, the middle of the second quarter in a 2-possession ball game, you want to be ready. You want to help the team. You want to show everybody why you should be out on the floor. And so, if I can always do it, I'm going to try, especially during the meat of the season. I'm going to try to play as many guys as I can, if it makes sense.
Thanks, everyone.